Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and oh me, oh my, it is time for the Spare Rations God Rolled Guide. If you don't know what the Spare Rations is, you've been living under a rock, and it's time to come out now. Because this is, without a doubt, the most powerful legendary hand cannon within the Crucible meta currently in Destiny 2. This weapon is best achieved by farming Tier 2 of Reckoning, which is available this week as I'm recording this video. However, the reset is tomorrow, so if you want to farm for this weapon, you have to do it tonight. But don't stress, if you don't get one tonight, it will come back into rotation 2 weeks from now. And obviously, you're probably going to want to enjoy the new Season of Dawn content more than you're going to want to farm the Reckoning for the next 2 weeks. So it actually works pretty well with the cadence and flow of content. But enough with that. After you've done a Tier 2 Reckoning or a Gambit Prime and gotten yourself a Spare Rations to drop, it's really important to look at the roll you get because there are so many different perks that can drop for this weapon, and they have such a wide varying degree of power. I posted an initial guide on Twitter and it got a ton of likes and a ton of people responded giving their thoughts and ideas and remarks on the ratings that I gave on those perks. And it was because of all those replies and everything that I began to change and adjust the chart a little bit. I started to categorize things a little bit higher or a little bit lower depending upon the feedback I got. And even after I adjusted the chart, there was still so much speculation as to why this perk was more powerful than that perk and so on and so forth. So then I had to spend the entirety of today as I'm making this video testing every single perk to understand its exact value and most especially how much range does each individual perk add to this weapon so that we could verify and know beyond a shadow of a doubt what is the true God rolled Spare Rations, what is the true best rolled Spare Rations you can possibly get. And this is the final chart that I came up with, and this is entirely for PvP purposes, so keep that in mind. And now, as I've done in the past, I'm going to go through each individual perk and I'm going to state what stat it gives to the weapon and why each perk is ranked where it is. Starting with the barrels, Hammer Forged Rifling adds a plus 10 range, so this is extremely good. However, this is not quite as much range as Full Bore, and when you're using a weapon like this, you want to get the maximum range. Full Bore does have the downside of giving you a -5 to handling and stability, but the drawback of losing a little bit of stability and handling isn't that big a deal, especially with these weapons. Stability doesn't really seem to matter at all. I actually haven't noticed a difference at all in any sort of high stability hand cannon usage. So the God tier perk goes to Full Bore, but Hammer Forged Rifling at the very top gets a excellent rating. Going down the list, we have Corkscrew Rifling. Now this gives a +5 to range, stability, and handling. Now it's nice to give those plus added stats to the other ones, but because it's only a +5 to range, I actually give this one an average rating. The next one is Fluted Barrel. This one only gives bonuses to stability and handling. Definitely not necessary. When you're using this weapon, you're looking for maximum range. You're looking to get as much range out of it as you can, so that way you can 3-tap people at the maximum range, making sure that you get that optimal time to kill while using this weapon in the Crucible. The fourth one is Full Bore, like we mentioned, is the God tier perk. That's the perk you're looking for the most. Small Bore gives a +7 to range and a +7 to stability, and so I gave this one an average. It's pretty good, but definitely not nearly as good as Full Bore or Hammer Forged Rifling. Next on the list is Arrowhead Break, which does give a +30 to recoil and +10 to handling. However, this already has a 100 vertical recoil direction, so you definitely don't need any Arrowhead Break on it. Chamber Compensator gives stability, -5 handling, 10 stability, -5 handling, and 10 to recoil. Again, you don't need any recoil direction added to this weapon. It's already extremely vertical recoil. The next one is Extended Barrel, which gives a +10 range, -10 handling, and +10 recoil. Now the +10 range is one of the better range boosting barrels here, and so this one I'm going to give a excellent rating. And the Polygon Rifling is a +10 to stability, which, as far as I know, like I've mentioned before, stability is not necessary at all on this weapon. Moving on to the magazine perk slot, we have 4 perks that actually add +5 to range, and there's no other perk that adds any more than +5 to range, so they're all about in the equal category. They all have different variations of what else they add to the weapon though, so I categorize them a little bit differently. High caliber rounds I'm definitely going to put in the God tier round. This gives +5 to range and of course adds a little bit more flinch. The next one down is Appended Mag, which increases the magazine, so that's definitely not necessary, and the fact that it doesn't add much to range is a big drawback, so I'm going to put that to below average. And then we have Flared Magwell, which gives +5 to stability and +15 to reload speed. Now reload speed can be nice, especially if you're using Kill Clip, but the fact that you'd be missing out on a little bit of range by not having one of the other 4 range perks is definitely going to put this at below average. Next up is Ricochet Rounds, which gives +5 to range and +10 to stability. Now, as I mentioned before, stability not really that necessary, but if you get some free stability with the +5 range, why fight it, you know? Just accept the +10 stability. Ricochet Rounds, very nice perk, +5 range, God tier perk. The next one up is Light Mag, which gives a +5 to range and +10 to reload speed. Now, Range and reload speed are both extremely beneficial and helpful for this weapon, especially if you're using kill clip or a reload damage boosting perk, because faster reload is going to be extremely nice for that. So light mag definitely goes into the god tier because it gives both range and reload speed. In fact, might even be my favorite perk, especially if you get one that has kill clip on it. The next one up is extended mag, which of course no boost to range, so we're going to pass on that one and put that as below average. And alloy magazine, faster reloads when the magazine is empty. Definitely not that helpful, below average. And on to the bottom one is armor piercing rounds, which gives a +5 to range, so I put this in the excellent slot. It doesn't have any other boosting perks, and it's typically seen as a PvE perk. However, the fact that it gives a +5 to range is really nice, and even though you would be using this in Crucible where you wouldn't actually get the rounds to over-penetrate combatant shields, the +5 to range is nice, and definitely not that bad of a perk to have on your spare rations for the Crucible. Alright, now on to the nitty gritty, the first powerful perk slot here. Now this is where a lot of different opinions came in on Twitter and elsewhere, and of course you can have your own opinions on what you think, but I will say this, when it comes to the first powerful perk slot on the spare rations, all of these perks are actually really not that powerful, especially compared to the second powerful perk column that we will get to next. But of course, if you're looking to build a god tier roll or analyze your weapon as being a true god roll, I would definitely put 2 of these perks in the god tier category, and that would be rapid hit and snapshot. Me personally, I like having snapshot on my weapons. I like when my weapons handle very snappy and have extremely good agile aim down sights time. And this is also very effective at increasing the range. If you guys don't know, aiming down sights adds a rangefinder perk to essentially every weapon in the game, so you always want to be aiming down sights if you can. And so snapshots just helps you to aim down sights a little bit faster, maybe fire that first shot when getting into a 1v1 engagement, maybe flinching your enemy first, especially in PvP when those tiny minuscule seconds mean so much. The difference between firing a shot a millisecond before your enemy can make the world of difference in that gunfight. And rapid hit as well is put into the god tier category because getting that extra boost to reload speed, especially when using kill clip, is extremely nice and extremely effective in the Crucible. Going on to the other perk slots, we have 4th times the charm. Now this will just give you 2 rounds after hitting 4 headshots. This is definitely not that helpful and not nearly as powerful as rapid hit or snapshot. Subsistence is a terrible perk because it lowers your capacity and reserves, and you definitely don't want that. The worst thing that could happen is to run out of primary ammo while going on a crazy tear in the Crucible, so definitely try not to use subsistence. It also works counterintuitively because you need to reload to use a lot of the powerful perks in the final slot, so it doesn't really help that much. Threat detector, as I've mentioned before, not that best for a hand cannon. Hand cannons are meant to be used around mid-range, and if threat detector procs, enemies are way too close to you, you're probably not going to be able to properly utilize this perk while using a spare rations. Field prep is pretty much just a waste of perk as well. I'm putting that as below average along with threat detector because these perks don't really add much to your Crucible gameplay. Auto-loading holster is not that bad of a perk actually, but comparatively to snapshot or rapid hit, it's definitely going to be put into the average category. Alright, and now here we go, the final perk slot. This caused a ton of commotion within the community. So many people had such different opinions that I actually had to sit in a private match and shoot people for hours on end to make sure that I got the information on this correct and that I have everything exactly as it should be. And I'm going to play the video behind you to actually show you the evidence of how much more powerful these perks are comparative to each other. So that way there's no dispute, or at least as little dispute as possible, because of course some of this stuff is situational. For example, if you're a Titan who runs around shoulder charging, you might really like Swashbuckler, because in fact Swashbuckler times 5, if you get one by proccing a melee kill, is just as powerful as kill clip. So a Titan running around with that, or a Warlock perhaps using Devour, might get a melee kill, giving him full health, and then have Swashbuckler times 5. So that could also be a really, really powerful perk. Swashbuckler could be a god tier perk depending upon what build you're using. However, I'm giving all of these ratings based on a sort of neutral build. It's not based on what subclass you're using or what subclass is the meta. It's based on essentially if your Guardian didn't have any perks or anything going for it, what perks would you look for ideally? And of course, you can adjust these based on what subclass you prefer and how your playstyle works for you inside Destiny 2. So going from the top, Kill Clip is the god tier perk. Getting a kill and reloading adds a 33% damage boost to your weapon. Now this will extend the range tremendously, making the weapon so much more powerful and so much more properly utilized. The next one down is Rampage, which getting one kill with Rampage adds a 10% damage boost, which is only 1/3 of Kill Clip. You'd actually need Rampage times 3, which would be so situational and so difficult to pull off that I have to give this an average rating. The next one would be Multi-Kill Clip, which is actually pretty good. But again, multi-kill clip can be tough to keep chaining those kills because you only have like a 2-second window to keep that up. Otherwise, you will lose the perk multi-kill clip. And one kill with multi-kill clip is a 16% damage boost, so it's about half as much as kill clip. If you were to get, of course, more kills with multi-kill clip, you could, of course, do more damage than kill clip. However, that situation would be so rare and so few and far between that I have to give it an excellent rating, but not a god tier rating. The next perk up is Slide Shot, which is one that I originally had as a god tier perk because I thought originally that the range boost you'd get from using the slide on this perk would be so much more effective, but it is incredibly ineffective, and it actually only works on the first shot that you fire, and it only added around a 5% range boost, if you can see from these tests here, comparative to kill clip. It was insane. Kill clip did so much more and added so much more range to the weapon that to compare kill clip to Slide Shot was just baffling, especially the fact that you could fire off like almost 7 or 8 kill clip shots, whereas with Slide Shot you could fire off 1 within that engagement. The next perk up is Rangefinder, which added a substantial amount of range, definitely an extremely powerful perk. The only reason why this didn't receive the god tier rating, especially because you don't need to get a kill for this to proc, is because it does give added zoom when using it, and that is an unpreferential perk to have when using it in the Crucible. People do not want to have their weapons zoomed in more when aiming down sights. They want to have them zoomed out as much as possible. That's why people always talk about low zoom snipers, etc. And so the perk added on to Rangefinder, where you zoom in a little bit more, brings it down to an excellent rating. However, it is an extremely powerful range boosting perk, definitely one of the better perks to roll on this weapon. Do not feel disappointed if you have Rangefinder. The next perk up is Moving Target, which doesn't add any sort of range to the weapon, and the added mobility while aiming down sights is definitely not that helpful and not really utilized very often, so that's going to be ranked below average. And then we have Swashbuckler, which I put as average, but like I said before, maybe you have certain builds that might be melee oriented and you could actually utilize Swashbuckler really well, especially because if you just get one melee kill, it actually gives the added bonus of kill clip to your weapon, 33% bonus, and that's pretty impressive. And the last and final perk is going to be Hipfire Grip, which of course is not that great. You do not want to be running around hip-firing your spare rations. There are other weapons that are properly utilized well while hip-firing, but spare rations is not one of them. This is the type of weapon you want to aim down sights and land 3 shots to the head. The background footage here has been me testing out all of the different perks: Rangefinder, Slide Shot, Kill Clip, Multi-Kill Clip, and Rampage. I demonstrate just how much of a difference they make on each and every weapon. So if you need to go back and rewind and verify the footage that I've shown you, go ahead and do so. But everything I said matches up with exactly what I'm showing in the video here. I hope you all really enjoyed this video. I really do appreciate your feedback. Make sure you subscribe if you want more content like this. I love doing tests like this. I love getting really deep into the game and understanding all the little nuances that are inside Destiny 2 and Destiny 2 Crucible. I'll be reading all the comments below, so be sure to leave your thoughts there. And again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a good night. And good luck farming for the God-rolled spare ration, Guardians. I'll see you later.